you better go ahead and grab you your drink of choice. Sit down, get you a pen, a notebook, because I'm about to give y'all some good teas and you need to write all of this down. Go ahead, get your stuff. What's up, E-Ganggg? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Eboni Ebo. I am currently making videos on a house to home. I have a new construction home. I'm in Florida, and I am just basically making a video. I have a new house tour. I'll have that link below if you haven't seen it. Hold on, guys. I'm sorry, I dropped my pen. I have a new construction home house tour, as well as I have a couple vlogs out right now of like some hauls, and then I'm going to be doing a lot of cleaning videos, a lot of cooking videos, decorating, things of that nature, and a little bit of weight loss. So if that is something that you like to watch or you enjoy, go ahead and make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the bell so that you can always be notified when I post a new video. I'll also be going over things. So over here, us, the E-Ganggg, we keep it real. I'm very transparent. I'm very blunt. So I'm very open about a lot of things. So, you know, I will be doing videos more like this, how I prepared my credit to buy my house. The next video that you guys are requesting is how I save the money to buy my house. And things of that nature as we go along. I'm going to teach you guys how to, you know, call in and dispute inquiries and get them off your credit, like things like that. So stick around. If clean with me videos are new to you, you have to watch them, y'all. Like, I started watching them on YouTube probably like 6 years ago, and I just love them. They're so therapeutic, they're so relaxing, and it gets you in the mood of going, because I know a lot of people are like, what has said to me, what are clean with me videos? So without further ado, let me get into why y'all are really here. So first of all, I brought my notebook. This is like my real deal notebook. This is what I use. I'm a like hands-on girl. I know a lot of people are like into electronics and things like that, but for me, I'm old school. I need to write it down. I need to see it. I need to touch it. I need to scratch it off. That's just me. It helps me stay, keep everything in track, in order, and stay focused. But for this credit journey, you guys, please get you a journal, a book, something. You know, this can fit in my purse. If I carry a big purse, it can fit in my purse. If you want something a little smaller, even the guys, there may be some males watching this video, something that you can carry around, even if you have a briefcase, something, you need a notebook, guys. It's very important. So that's going to be your step one, is to get you a notebook. I write everything in here. So with my notebook, so the first thing that I did to prepare my credit, and let me just back up a little bit. If you don't know, I got approved for a home, a custom built home, a semi-custom home through Ryan Homes. Once I got done adding upgrades, it was a $465,000 loan by myself. So I'm just gonna teach y'all what I did to get that ball rolling and get approved. So when I started out, guys, let me just give you a little background. This was gonna be my third home that I purchased, that I had built. So I had prepared my credit before. I fixed it and messed up, fixed it and I messed it up. If you haven't watched my video where I talked about why I backed out of my home, go watch that and then come back to this one. And they'll be linked below as well. So I've fixed my credit and messed it up, fixed my credit and messed it up, fixed it and messed it up. So when I went to go purchase a home, I was like, let me just look at, like, I hadn't even stopped looking at my credit, y'all. I was being reckless, spending money, going out, just doing silly stuff, being very reckless. So when I finally decided to sit down and look at my credit, I always had my FICO. I have had my FICO for years. I've been paying a subscription, and I wasn't like even checking it anymore, because I was like, okay, when I bought my last house, I was in a different marriage. You know, I thought like that was it for me. So I was like, well, this is I don't need good credit anymore. So when I got in my house, I was like, I don't need my credit no more. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. I started getting credit cards out the ass. Everybody was giving me a credit card because I had good credit. Target, Walmart, Victoria's Secret, everybody was giving me a credit card. Capital One, like everybody was coming at me. you know, when you have good credit, like everybody's gonna come at you. And I was stupid, and I had a brand new home, so I was like charging it up. Home Depot, everything, I was just charging those credit cards up. And I was like, you know, I thought my husband and I at the time were gonna be together forever. So I was like, I don't need good credit no more. Like, whatever. The only thing I didn't do, y'all, I never messed up with my student loans. But if you have messed up with your student loans, it's okay. It's not the end all be all. So don't get discouraged. I just personally never messed up with my student loans, but if you have, don't get discouraged. A tip I'm gonna tell y'all right now is the student loan, they're always willing to work with you. So before you let it report negatively to your credit, just call them and work out an arrangement. They'll be more than happy to work with you. Like, you know, just work out an arrangement in lieu of letting some negative reporting go to your credit. Because like if you have negative reporting with the student loan, you can't get a home. Like you have to let some time pass by before you'll be able to qualify for a home loan. And you can't be in a negative standing with your student loans to get a home loan as well. So let's get right into it. So let me go back to my notes. So the first thing you want to do, y'all, the first thing that I did was I went and looked at my credit report. So for your true scores, Credit Karma is not a good source. I know a lot of people, they like Credit Karma because it's free, but those are not your true scores. Those are not the scores that the bank sees when you go and apply for a home loan. It's a completely different calculator. It's your FICO 5, 4, and 2 that the banks use when you go get a home loan. You can see your exact FICO 5, 4, and 2 scores through myfico.com. Credit Karma is good to look as a source to see what's on your credit. So if you want to use Credit Karma to see, like, you know, what late payments you have, what collections you have, that's a good source. But as far as your score, Credit Karma is not a good source. So me personally, I bypass Credit Karma and I go straight to my FICO. On my FICO, like I said, you can get your true mortgage score. So when you go on my FICO, they'll have an option where you can view your mortgage score, you can view your credit card score, you can view your personal loan score, for a car loan. Every score is different. So and Credit Karma is your Vantage score. So a lot of lenders don't use your Vantage score. And then everything is calculated different. For a home loan, it's calculated completely different from other loans. So most people will see their home loan scores a lot lower than their other scores because they factor in a lot of different things with your home loan because of, you know, the housing bubble years ago. They just want to make sure like everybody's really, really qualified, which, you know, if you was lending out your money, wouldn't you be as well? So go to my FICO, view your real scores, see where you stand. It's $24.99 a month, guys. Like, we'll just call it $30. What is $30 a month to make sure like your credit is wealth? Like, I don't care if you're rich, credit is wealth. You need credit. Like, your credit runs the world. You need credit. And if I have $1 million, I want to keep my money and spend yours. And I'm going to pay you back with the money. You know what I mean? Credit is wealth. So you need credit. So go ahead and invest in the $30. I'd highly recommend myfico.com. Highly, highly, highly. This is not sponsored. They're not sponsoring me. MyFICO, if you do want to sponsor me, hey. But I'm not sponsored. So myfico.com. So when you go on myfico.com, you'll get a 3-bureau report. So you'll have all 3 bureaus. You'll have TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. And then you'll get all 3 mortgage scores. Every score is going to be different. Every bureau is different. Every score is going to be different. Some, like, you may have the same, you know, like you would say you take out a furniture account. They may only report to Experian and they don't report to all 3 bureaus, or they may only report to Experian and TransUnion and they don't report to Equifax. So every score is going to be different. So what I did was I went and looked at my true mortgage score, what the bank actually sees. And when I pulled my score, I believe I was at like a 540, y'all. So I was like, oh my God. So I was like, okay, well, I didn't panic. I was upset that I had let my score get back that low, but I didn't panic. So when I When I got divorced, I left the home. I owned the home. The home was in my name only. I left the home. I left my husband in the home, and it was just kind of like a bad situation. He didn't pay the mortgage payments. I didn't pay him because I felt like, why would I pay it and I'm not in the home? You was still staying there until the house sell. You should make the payments. And it was kind of like it was not a good situation. So the mortgage payments went unpaid. So guys, let me tell you something that's very, 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 very important. Late payments will screw you, okay? Y'all, if you can avoid a late payment, please, please, please avoid a late payment. It takes a long time for that late payment to not negatively affect you as much. You know what I mean? So like a lot of time has to pass before that late payment is not affecting you as much. So guys, one late payment could drop your score like 30, 40, 50 points, like one late payment. So if you can't, even if you have to borrow money or rob Peter to pay Paul, guys, it's very, very, very important. No late payments. Just make sure you're not having no late payments, guys. Like, don't get yourself into debt, things that you can't afford. If you don't need it right now, don't get it. Like, build your credit up first. Get to where you need to be and then get there. So late payments, guys, that's a big no. That will significantly drop you. So fortunately for me, I didn't have any real late payments but the mortgage reporting, and it was fresh. It was new. So, you know, it was fresh because I had just, you know, left my husband. It was like a year old, so it was still hurting me significantly. And then all my other late payments were from years ago, but it's gonna stay on your report for 7 years, guys. So when they tell you it's gonna stay on there for 7 years, it does stay on there for 7 years. But the other payments were from years ago, so they were hurting me, but they weren't hurting me as much as those new late payments, guys. So I had got my credit score up to, I want to say maybe like a 725. And just so y'all can see how big of an impact it does, but not just the credit, the late payments, but I went from a 725 to a 540. But it wasn't just the late payments. I am going to say that. However, that's a big, 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 big difference. I was at a 540. I had several late payments on the mortgage. I think we were almost, I want to say 120 days before the house sold. He didn't make a payment, and I'm like, I don't live there. So I didn't make a payment, and I think it went to like 120 days. That is very, very, very bad, y'all. And had I, which I did know then, but had I knew what I knew now, like really, really now, I would have just made the payments even though I wasn't staying there because it messed up my credit. Now, what you can do, and this is what I did do with a lot of my lenders that I did have late payments, because I still had some late payments on that were from years ago. So I went through my credit report. So once you go and you get your scores, you want to look at your credit report with a fine-tooth comb. I recommend printing it out. It may be 24, 25 pages. I recommend printing it out. Keep that copy. So you want to have a copy from when you started, and then maybe like a quarterly, you know, print it out every quarterly, every 3 months, so you can see how far you've come. So I print my credit report out. I went line by line, just like an underwriter. You know, I got me a highlighter, I got me a pen. I started. So you want to pay attention to your dates. So it'll tell you on your credit report, especially Experian, they're really good for this. It'll tell you when things are gonna fall off, and my FICO does as well. So it'll tell you. So say I was looking at my report like, hey, this is gonna fall off in January of next year. So the only bad thing for me, guys, is I end up paying a lot of stuff off, which I'm going to talk about that too, because my house, I was closing in November, and a lot of my stuff, like so many of my things, y'all, was falling off the beginning of 2023. But because I was closing in November and I just couldn't wait, I had to pay that stuff off. But we're going to get into that. So you're going to get your credit report, comb through it, pay attention. Line by line, print it out, guys. I don't know why, it makes a difference when you have a tangible like copy in your hand, like print it out. So I went through, I highlighted everything. I got my book, I wrote down all my collections. I put how much I owe, I put the collector, the debt, you know, who was the original lender, who the collection was with, their phone number. I put the amount owed, if you know how much I owe them. I put the date that it was supposed to fall off. I wrote everything down. I even wrote down how much I was gonna offer them. So before we get into that, let's talk about credit repair companies. No shade to credit repair companies, but this is something that you can do on your own, guys. Because let me tell y'all about credit repair. And I'm going to just be real. Even though I do want to start some type of credit repair company, I'm more into fixing it for long term. So if you meet a credit repair specialist and they're not really telling you the truth, like sometimes you may be lucky and it may be long term, but a lot of credit repair is a fix it right then type of thing. Like if you're going to be buying something within the next 30 to 60 days, because a lot of times when they're just going through disputing everything, it may fall off for a few months, maybe even just 30 days, it comes back. So guys, it's more important to fix the issue. If you owe Navy Federal and you disputed and Navy Federal didn't get back within the time frame, 30 days, and it falls off, you still owe Navy Federal. Like, you still owe them that money. You want to be in good standing with Navy Federal. They like one of the biggest out here. They everywhere. So you still want to be in good standing with Navy Federal because you're going to need Navy Federal again. Not only that, when Navy Federal catches back up, they're going to put it back on there. It's going to come back. So you've paid all this money to credit repair when maybe you owe Navy Federal $400, $700. So you've paid somebody $500, $600 to repair your credit, but you could have just took that money to Navy Federal and got that taken care of. So, like I said, it's a personal choice. Me personally, I did start out with credit repair, and I wasn't getting any results. In fact, it made my credit worse. And I hit the girl up. I'm like, hey, what's going on? Like, I lost a lot of points. Like, what's going on? And then, guys, what you have to remember is, even when they're filing these disputes, so when you go to get a home loan, your underwriter, your mortgage loan processor, they don't want to see stuff in dispute because it's like a blanket. Like, it's not giving you your true score, because when something is in dispute, it's not being factored into your score at that time. Once it comes out of dispute and it's not removed, so sometimes you may notice an increase. And then once the dispute is over and say the lender didn't remove it, and then you come back 30, 45 days later and you're like, why my score dropped again? So, and then, you can't, things can't be in dispute when you go to closing. So it's okay to dispute things. I'm not saying don't dispute. But I would say if you could fix it, fix it. You know it's your debt. You know you owe the money. Some of these big lenders, like, they coming back. Like, you're not gonna get away with or Navy Federal, and you think because they didn't reply within 30 days they fell off. They're coming back. A lot of these people, you just can't get away with it anymore. Back in the day, it used to be easy, but nowadays it's really not that easy anymore. You can't get away with it. So I paid people, y'all. Bottom line, point blank, period. I paid people. I owed them. I knew it was my debt. I went through my credit. Nothing was like fraudulent on my credit. I did have some fraudulent inquiries. But everything that it said, like any debt collector said that I truly did owe that debt. So I went through, and what I did was I started with the hardest ones first. So when I say the hardest, the ones I owed the most money to. So one of the biggest things, like I told y'all in my last video, was I had a repossession that turned into a judgment for me letting my friend get a car in my name. So, because like she lived in like Clay County, I live in Duval, a different county, it was registering with her county, and I didn't even know, like, the judgment was filed in her county through the court. So I didn't know. So when it came back to me, like, oh, you have a judgment, I'm like, oh my God. So I was like, I did my research. I Google University. Use Google. Do your research, y'all. Google. I researched judgments, and I found out, like, you can't go to closing with the judgment. I even called some banks. I called my bank. I bank with Navy Federal. I called Bank of America. I called the big wig banks. Bank of America. I called Wells Fargo. Hey, I have a judgment. You know, blah, blah, blah. What do I need to do? And all of them told me that I could not go to closing with that judgment. That judgment had to be paid off. The judgment, mind y'all, I think that car was only like $14,000 or something like that. I don't know. It wasn't expensive. By the time they put it on my credit, I owed them like 21 something thousand dollars. So when I called them, it was with like a paralegal office. I couldn't even talk to like the original lender. They wouldn't even talk to me. They directed me straight to the legal office. And when I talked to them, they told me who it was assigned to. And the lady, she wasn't friendly. She wasn't nice. Guys, so when you calling these people, be nice, y'all. You get more bees than honey. Everybody not going to take the bait, but be nice. Be friendly. You can like, I swear you could get more bees with honey. She, you know, that first initial conversation I had with her, she was not friendly at all. But before the end of it, like we were cool, y'all. So they, I told them, I was like, first of all, never pay anybody 100% if you can. And I'm going to say if you can, because y'all, I'm going to be honest with y'all. 4-5 years ago, people were like, they were settling. Like I remember back in the day when I fixed my credit for my other house, people, a debt collector would settle for like 50%, 60%. Child, please, I was calling these people. They were like, no, this is what we take it. If you can't do it, oh well, like literally hanging up in my face. So I settled with them. I settled for $10,000 and they let me break it up into payments. So I did, I believe it was like $3,500. I paid them $3,500 a month until it was paid off. And y'all, like, I was like, oh my God, like, you know, that was just a big mistake. Like, never let, don't get nothing in your name for nobody. Like, protect your credit. Like, people might get mad at you. Protect your credit. Your credit is your baby. Protect your credit, man. Like, don't put nothing in your name for nobody, man. Protect your credit because people do not care. $10,000, that's a lot of money, y'all. So I started with them. And then because I was making payments with them, I didn't, girl, child, please, I wouldn't give y'all my $10,000 at one time. It just made me feel better to make payments. I don't know. So because I was making payments with them, I went on to my next one. So I went to my second highest one. And then I called them and tried to make a settlement. And, you know, most people, they didn't want to go like I wanted to do 50%. Nobody took 50% from me. Nobody. But most people only would do like 25, 30%. So when people tell y'all like collections, medical collections don't count, stop listening to that because they do count. They won't stop you from getting a home loan. Lenders do not factor that in, medical collection, but it does drop your score. It significantly drop your score. It's a collection. The computer system don't recognize, oh, this is a medical collection versus a credit card collection. A collection is a collection. You can lose like 70 points from one collection. So I had a lot of medical collections, y'all, a lot. And some of them were small. Like I think my smallest one was like $30. Like why would I let a $30 collection get reported to my credit? That probably dropped my score 30 points. So I went through it and I paid my collections off, my debt collections. I'm trying to think. I don't think, let me look. I can tell y'all because I write everything down. I don't think I had any collections that were too. Okay, so that's medical. Oh, I did. I had a few credit cards. Remember I was telling y'all that I had got some credit cards when I got my other house. I had some credit cards. So like for one of them, I owe Midland Funding. A lot of people are familiar with Midland Funding. They do pay for deletes. And that's another thing, guys. When you're talking to these people, make sure it's a pay for delete. Like if I'm going to pay you, it's going to be for a deletion. Unfortunately, the judgment, they did not do a pay for delete for me. They just reported the balance to zero. So that is still on my credit. The collection is. Judgments don't report on your credit anymore, but the collection is. So the collection, it was like thousands, is now reported to zero. That's the good thing. The judgments, the actual judgment, like, you know, you may say like you have a public record, but that actual judgment was not on my credit. It was just a collection. But most of my, all of them did, yeah, all of them did pay for delete. They did pay for deletion. A lot of time, I know a lot of people say, well, don't pay them till you get it in writing. A lot of people don't do pay for delete in writing anymore. You just have to take their word for it. And sometimes I'll be like, they'll tell me this call is monitored and recorded, and I'll just say, hey, just let you know this call is being monitored and recorded on my end as well. Is it okay if I proceed? And then make sure you take down their name. If they give you an ID number, you need their ID number. I wrote down the time, date of my call, who I spoke to, how her voice sound. Like, write down everything, guys, because I did have a problem with one, which was choice recovery. It ended up being deleted, but it was just like, no, we didn't tell you we was gonna do this. Yes, you did, because I spoke to Sally on this day, and this is what happened. So I went through and I paid off all my medical collections. Now for me, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I paid off probably 10 medical collections. My score did nothing because they were old. Not only that, it's a lot of factors play into credit. It's not just one thing. So I had credit cards that I needed to pay down. So guys, this is, credit cards take up your utilization. Utilization takes up 30%, guys. That is a huge deal, 30%. So if you have a credit, say you have a credit card with $1,000 limit, and you are at $999, you almost maxed out. That is hurting your credit score. So you may have paid this collection off, but because you still have this maxed out credit card, you're not gonna see your score increase from paying the collection off, because everything has to be aligned. Like, I can't explain it, like, y'all, it has to be aligned. Like, everything has to fall in order. So I can't pay these collections off and think my credit score finna jump 150 points when I still got a maxed out credit card over here. So it wasn't till, so I paid my collections off, I didn't see the score. I was like, man, what the heck? Like, I just paid all this money and my score didn't move none. Like, y'all, I swear to God, my score probably only moved like 5 points. Literally, swear to God, 10 collections. Y'all, when I paid my credit cards down to 0, I know a lot of people say 10%. I would say 8% at most, y'all. Keep your credit cards at 8% utilization at most. If you can't keep them to 0, keep them at 8%. Y'all, my score went, I want to say I got like 70 points. My score significantly increased. I was in the 6s. I think I went up to like 619. I want to say I went up to 619. My score increased significantly when I paid my credit cards down. And I was like, okay, now I'm making progress. So keep in mind, guys, you only need a 580 for a FHA home loan. So now that is the guideline for FHA. However, different banks have different caveats because it's their money. So the government says you only need the 580. But I'll say, for instance, I bank with Navy Federal. Navy Federal says, okay, well, Uncle Sam said you only need a 580, but because it's my money, I want you to have a 640. And especially with COVID, like the minimum credit score increased with a lot of lenders. So I still didn't have a score because I needed a 640. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna keep trying. Like, at this point, and so for as far as time frame, when that finally happened, that was probably 3 months in. Maybe 2.5, 3 months in, when I finally started seeing the difference. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna keep going. In total, y'all, it took me about 4 months. It took me 4 months. And it really didn't take a full 4 months. It's just, it was the debt collectors, like, they wasn't reporting stuff. So we're gonna talk about that too. So make sure when it's paid off, make sure they can email you the receipt right then. They can email you a paid in full, blase squaze, this could be deleted, this is gonna be deleted, blase. Make sure once you pay it, they are willing to mail it to you. So what I did was, I know a lot of people, they say don't dispute online. I disputed online because this was my debt, and I have a letter saying that this creditor agreed to remove this. So I jumped the gun. Like, I would find out what date do you report. When I was paying stuff off, hey, what date do you report to the credit bureau? Find out, oh, okay, it's the 1st and y'all don't report to the 22nd. Okay, let me go ahead and submit this to TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax and have this removed a little bit faster, because y'all not going to report to the 22nd and today the 1st. So disputing online is okay when you're doing that. When it's your debt and you have a receipt and you've paid it off and it's something that's factual and you're trying to get it corrected, disputing online is okay when you're doing it that way. So I would dispute it online. I would upload a copy of my receipt. I would scan it, upload, not scan, I would save it to my phone, and then I would upload it to TransUnion, Equifax. I would dispute all of them. So they eventually start falling off, and then my credit cards is what really took me through the roof, y'all. Also, another thing, guys, it didn't work for me, but it may work. It worked. I take that back. It worked for me with one lender. So you can call your lenders and ask for a good faith adjustment. What this is you can call your lender and say, hey, you first of all, get their name. When you're talking to these debt collectors, you get their name and be personable. So if you're talking, you're like, hey, Sally, how are you doing today? Reiterate their name throughout the conversation, because this lets them know that you're paying attention. You're going to be on it. Like, they know, like, you're on it. You know what I'm saying? So I would call and I would say, hey, Sally, I ran into some hard times I would look at my credit report, find out the month, date back in May. And, maybe I had COVID, whatever your situation would be. I was going through a divorce, whatever, however. And I'm just asking, because my previous history, I have a good pay history. Would it be possible for you guys to do a good faith adjustment and delete these late payments? Sometimes it works, y'all. It did work with one of my lenders. The other ones it didn't work with, but that's okay. It didn't stop me from getting a loan. I just my lender only went back 12 months. So you have to have at least 12 months of no late payments. They still hurt your score, but after like 24 months and, after some time, they don't hurt as much as they did in the beginning. So for me, I just wanted it to kind of increase my score. A lot of them said no. Like I said, one did. They removed the late payment as a good faith adjustment. And that was one that I really did forget to pay. So that's why this book comes in handy, guys. Like, write your bills in here, write your debts in here, write everything in here. Because a lot of times, guys, you're making a late payment not because you don't have the money, because you simply forgot to pay. Like for me, y'all, I never even knew what was my billing cycle date for a lot of my bills. Like, I never even knew. Like, I would just wait for it. Even my student loans, they'll say, hey, student loan is due this day, due that day. And that's like playing with fire, y'all. Like, you can easily make a late payment or miss a payment because, you're not being organized. You have to be organized, guys. That is like if you don't take anything away from this video, you have to stay organized, guys. Organizational. I write all my bills in here. I look at this book every day. I scratch things off. I still got all my debts in here that I paid. I printed out all my receipts. I still have all my receipts, baby. Keep your receipts, because if that thing pop back up on your credit next year, you want to say, hey, no, baby, Sally, remember I talked to you. I paid you. Here go my receipt. Take this back off my credit. So you want to stay organized, guys. You want to stay organized. Don't procrastinate. Like, procrastination will kill you. It will kill you. Like, don't procrastinate. You got to stay on top of things. This book will save your life. Not just this book in particular, just having a book, period, will save your life. So far, guys, we've said you're going to get your book. You're going to review your real scores. You're going to review through myfico.com. You're going to view your mortgage scores. If you want a home loan, even if you don't want a home loan, if you want a car loan, review your car loan scores. You're going to write down all your everybody you owe. You're going to write it down. You're going to print out your report. You're going to view it with a fine-tooth comb. Then you're going to write everything down in your book, who all you owe, how much you owe, the date you paid it, who you spoke to, the time. You're going to write all of that down. You're going to start with the hardest ones first. For me, that worked. Knock out the hardest ones. Like I said, the hardest ones is the most expensive ones. Knock those out first. Pay that off first. Those easy ones, those little $30, $20, $200 medical bills, you could work on those later, but pay the hardest ones off first. If you have to supplement income, guys, like, do whatever you gotta do. Like, do Uber, DoorDash. It's so many different platforms out here where you can make money. YouTube, TikToks, Reels, whatever you can do, guys. Because a lot of people, and then I'm going to go over this more in detail on my savings video, but a lot of people, they're like, well, how can I save and pay off my credit when, all my money goes to my bills? Okay, we gonna come up with a hustle. You got to get you a hustle. When you want it bad enough, you'll do it. Hey, you want this house bad enough, you gonna get I'm take my weekend away, hang with my girls, and I'm gonna go work. I'm gonna go do this. I'm gonna go bring in some extra income. So try to bring in extra income to help you pay down these debts, because if you're already on like a check, you're living check to check, it is gonna be hard for you to pay, you know, everything off and still, you know, be able to suffice with your daily living. So that's what I did, guys. Like it works. It truly works, guys. It takes time. So what you have to realize is not an overnight fix. It's not gonna happen overnight. If you think that this is gonna happen overnight, then you mistaken. Like if you thinking just in 30 days you're gonna see results, you're mistaken. Like for me, it happened for me in 4 months, and to me, I think that's fast. 4 months is fast, because sometimes it takes like 6-8 months. You know, you didn't just ruin your credit overnight, so it takes time to build it back up. Some things are still on my credit. They're gonna fall off. A lot of stuff falls off next year. But because I was closing in November, I had to go ahead and pay it. So guys, that's another thing. If you have something on your credit, be smart, right? So if you have something on your credit and it says that it's gonna fall off, so we're in August. If it's expected to fall off in December, just wait. Me personally, I would wait. If it's, you know, unless you're going to go buy a home next month, I would wait. Especially if you're already on a fixed income, it's over $500. Just wait, let it fall off. Like, why are you gonna give these people your money? You know, especially if it's a medical bill, when it's gonna fall off. So always pay attention to your fall off dates. If it's coming up fast, just wait. Guys, what you also can do, and I will make another video in great detail about it. Inquiries hurt, baby. When y'all out here just applying for credit cards or apartments or houses, those inquiries hurt, man. You could lose like 5 points for each inquiry. Like, it really, really hurts. Unless you're shopping in the realm of like a mortgage, like they'll let you apply. You get one ding for 30 to 45 days. You can apply for as many mortgage lenders as you want. You only get one ding, but it still doesn't look good on your credit report that you have all those inquiries. Guys, inquiries hurt a lot. So what you can do, it doesn't always work the first time. If it does not work the first time, don't give up. Do it again. So what I did with Experian, for me, it worked the first time. You want to write this down, right? CFPB. They don't want to hear CFPB. They are scared of those words, okay? So what I did, you don't want to talk to a regular representative. You're going to ask for the fraud department. Like I say, I'll make another video in great detail about it. You're going to ask for the fraud department. You're going to say, hey, now y'all, don't kill me for this. Even if you know it was yours, you're going to say, hey, Josh, I'm looking at I'm going to go buy a home, and I was looking at my credit report, and I noticed an inquiry from so-and-so on this day, and this was not me. I already filed a report with the CFPB, and I filed a police report. And I mean, you can or cannot say police report, it's up to you, but you definitely want to say you filed a report to CFPB. And I was calling to dispute these inquiries. Y'all, swear to God, I disputed 9 inquiries on my credit. They were off within 24 hours. Guess how many points it gave me? Those 9 inquiries gave me 25 points. 25 points is a lot, guys. That's a lot. 25 points. So be mindful when you're applying for stuff. I would say don't apply. Like, you know, when they tell you, like, don't buy stuff if you're gonna, don't go apply for anything new when you're gonna buy a house. Those inquiries hurt. Like, be mindful of what you're applying for. Be mindful of what you're buying, because when you go to get a house, your DTI is going to play a big factor. If you don't know what DTI is, it's your debt to income ratio. So it's what you make versus what you owe. If you go buy a brand new car, you got a $700 car note, and you bringing in maybe $3,000 a month. Okay, now you don't bring in $3,000 a month, because they're going to take that $700 off that $3,000, because you know what I mean? Wait till you close on the house and then go buy the car. So it's different things like that, guys. I will say it can be done. You don't have to pay anybody. I would strongly recommend you repairing your credit yourself. If you know that's your debt, you know you owe it, especially if it's a bank or a large lender, pay it off. Come to some type of agreement a settlement with them, pay it off. Even if they only knock down 20%, that's 20% you didn't have to pay. Pay it off, be done with it. Let it be deleted. That way you don't have to, you know, be at ease. Is this gonna come back on my credit before I go to closing? Because they're gonna put, so you're, even like with me getting a new construction home, they pull my credit in the beginning, they're gonna put it in the middle, and then we're gonna pull it again, you know. So they're gonna pull it again before you go to closing. So if you think like, oh, they already pulled it, I'm good to go. No, baby. They're gonna pull your credit again before you go to closing. So, you know, you don't want to have that worry like, is this gonna pop back up? And if it pop back up, like I said, one collection could drop your score significantly. If it's yours, pay it. If you got the money, pay it. If you don't have the money, find you a little side hustle, pay it. Because, you know, it may go away for a little while, but it's going to come back. So, guys, I think that about wraps it up. I just want to make sure I hit everything. Let me check my notes. I just want to make sure I hit everything with you guys for what I did. You know, so like I said, guys, this is what worked for me. It took about 4 months. If you have any questions, just comment down below. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. I try to be as detailed as I can. I currently have a 705. And then, you know, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because, guys, once you hit 700 and 800, they the same. They work the same. So, you know, a lot of people, they be wanting to get like, I want to 8. Hey, baby, once you get in that service, they about the same. Y'all getting about the same rates. So don't kill yourself. I mean, if that's your goal to get to 800, that's good. But, you know, once I get to a certain amount, hey, I'm good, you know. But credit is wealth. Use your wealth wisely.